Hey everybody, welcome to the Build Better Barndos Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Downs. In the studio with me today is Mr. Micah Morgan from Honor Build LLC in Longview, Texas. Micah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
We've got an interesting topic for you today. Now, most of the time, a lot of people contact me and they want to know, can you find a contractor? I need to find a contractor. I need a contractor. But man, that is a loaded question because there are some questions that you need to be asking these contractors before you say, hey, that's my guy.
Yes,
because
please.
I've met some contractors that I thought, man, if you put three of us in a room, what makes them walk out and go, that's my guy? Because that's probably not a very good contractor. Yeah. So we've got 2 or 3 questions, Micah, that we're going to go over today and talk about, what to ask your contractor. So I've broken this into 2 parts.
Okay.
We're going to do pre-construction, some things to ask them before anything even begins.
Great.
And then questions that you want to know about the construction phase itself, and even to the point of we're going to get to warranties and things like that after the build is done. So tell me a little bit about Honor Build LLC. Yeah. You guys build hybrid frame barndominiums in the Longview area. Tell me a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, so Honor Build, the name comes from Scripture. Our whole reason for existence is to honor Christ through the work of our hands. So that's really the backbone of our company.
That's awesome.
We primarily focus on steel buildings and hybrid barndominiums.
Okay.
So we will do a shell-only fully steel barndominium.
Yeah, I get asked that a lot.
But if it's a turnkey project, we're going to go the full hybrid way, and we'll probably get into that more a little bit later.
Okay.
We're based out of Longview, and we try to stay within about a 90-mile radius.
Perfect.
So a drivable distance.
Yeah. So
I
think that kind of leads us into our questions a little bit. I've seen contractors, and I told you before we started recording, I got a call yesterday, and this guy's like, hey, I can build in 48 states, man. I can build turnkey in 48 states. Well, what's the quality of that build?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes in line with what we're talking about in our podcast today is when you're trying to find that right contractor, if they're trying to build in 48 states, are they able to give me the kind of attention that goes into a custom home? And I think that's maybe a dividing factor too, is what type of, are you building a custom home or do you want me to just build you a spec?
Yeah.
Because I can get in and out of a spec really quick.
Yes.
But a custom home, man, there's a lot of hands-on in that, right?
Yeah. In the words of Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, just because we can doesn't mean we should.
That's right.
So when that contractor says he can build in 48 states, that's absolutely doable. But then we need to ask some follow-up questions with that. So
let's dig into those. Let's talk about, and I one of the ones that I wanted to talk about, because my background is a little different than yours. I'm more of the sales part of it. I got into Barndos, it's been almost 6 years now. And mine was primarily in the sales and design and just sitting across the table from those customers and listening to horror stories of, oh my gosh, I paid a contractor X amount, they ran off, especially in Texas.
Yes.
Texas is, we don't have to have a contractor's license. So that white creeper van that pulls up and takes your check, that's twofold of, bad on them, but you fell for that. You actually hired that contractor because you didn't ask enough questions. So the first thing that I think we need to ask a contractor or a prospective contractor is, let's talk about the pre-construction process. What is the process of when I first walk in the door, what are we going to go over? So talk a little bit about what you think is important when you first meet a customer. What are some things that need to be what are the ground rules that need to be laid out there of how Honor Build is going to treat you as a customer?
Yeah. So Matt Reisinger says something close to this. This is not verbatim, but we need to go slower on the front end so that we can do really well and go faster on the back end.
That's so true.
We want to spend as much time as possible in the pre-construction phase. And what I find contractors doing a lot is skipping through that in order to try to meet client expectations. Because obviously, if we're building your custom home, you want it to start as fast as possible.
Sure.
If we take a little extra time on the front end, we can actually really increase the quality of the build and the experience for you as a client on the back end. But as far as the estimating process, so I think it's actually different with every client because almost every client comes with a different background. So that initial conversation, maybe it's at their land. Maybe they are built, they saw my sign out somewhere and they have land close. So normally my first question is, do you want to meet me at my office or do you want to meet me at your land?
Yeah.
That's also a way for me to see where they're at in the build process. Yeah. It gives me an idea. Do they have land? Are they looking for land? it helps it helps start the conversation.
Yeah, and that's I get that a lot too. When I would go into sales, a lot of times, I loved it when I could meet them at the property.
Yes.
Because it was like, hey, we can get boots on the ground and see that you actually have land. Because how many times have I been contacted and they don't have property yet?
Yeah.
And and I get it. You're in the design and planning phase, but I think sometimes the homeowners don't understand that handcuffs the contractor a little bit. We're here talking about what do you need to ask the contractor, but sometimes you need to reverse that and go, hey, what does the homeowner need to know going into this? Before you start asking some of these questions, you might want to be a little farther into this before you start asking some of these questions. Because if you come to me and say, I want to bid on this floor plan, I want to know this, and this, and I need to know the final price. Okay, well, where's your property located? I don't have it yet. We haven't even started looking. Well, I can't give you a final cost. I can guesstimate.
Right.
I can try to get in the ballpark, and then they get mad at you because, well, you're just trying to be shady.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not it. I'm trying to be honest with you and make sure that we start this relationship off the right way. But
I had a really great phone call with a prospective client the other day. They called me and they are looking at land in the same subdivision that I'm building a project in.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, hey, we have 3 or 4 lots picked out. Would you mind looking at these lots with us and giving us a heads up if there are any immediate red flags?
Yep.
I think that's a great way to start.
I've done that before with people even trying to buy the land. I know I've got relationships with real estate agents, and I'll have a customer call me and go, hey, we're looking at 2 pieces of land. I had one that was moving from Colorado, not even here. And I went to 2 different pieces of property for them and met the agent out there. And basically one of them told the agent, no, we're not doing that because that's going to be like $100,000 and we can't really build here. And then the other one was I was able to call them back and go, if of the 2, I would definitely purchase this one because it's buildable. Now, I can't tell you what's below the surface, but from surface value, I can tell you that that's a buildable piece of property. And I think it's a great asset for homeowners to be able to trust you to do that.
Yeah.
And like you said, though, there are contractors who like, I don't care about that. I just want to get to the contract part.
Yes.
Let's just get a down payment and let's get to the contract part and let's skip all this other stuff. Yeah. We'll figure that out later. That is like whoop, red flag. If I was an NFL official, I would be like, whoop, yellow flag. That's a yellow flag there because you've got to stop right there. If they go, we'll figure that out later or we'll get to that in the build, you're asking because here's what's going to happen. And this is just my opinion on this. And I've been around several contractors. Some of them, most of them are really, really good. But you're going to get change orders like crazy. Yeah. Then you don't know their change order policy. They're going to put a 60% markup on change orders that you don't know about. And then they're going to charge you $500 for the change order, all these things. And that all started back when they said one little phrase that you didn't catch. And it was, we'll talk about that once we get the build going. Let's just get the plans done and get started so we can meet your timeline.
We'll figure that out later.
Exactly. And I think a contractor has to be disciplined enough to go, like you said, throw the brakes on here. Yep. Let's stop for just a minute. Let's go through our list here.
Yes.
Let me be honest with you and up front and explain to you this is the process because it is a slow, tedious process. I was very guilty when I first started into the Barndo business. I came from a teaching background and was trying to learn all of this, and my brain as a salesperson was just like, close that deal, baby, close the deal.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I didn't concern myself as much as I should have with what the project manager's about to go through or the builder, the person who's actually going to be boots on the ground. Yeah. And I would get some not nice phone calls from project managers like, dude, did you not even go over this with them? Yeah. Nope. What are you even talking about? Yeah.
So my background, I think, prepared me for this. I was on the vendor side in the steel business before I went on the contracting side. Yeah. And on the vendor side, as you know, you have to be very specific in your estimates when you are selling products, selling services. And I feel like that was almost a crucible that taught me how to write estimates. Yeah. That's a whole skill in itself.
It is.
How to write an estimate in a way that it not only covers you, but it also explains to the client exactly what they're getting. And also it makes sure that there's not going to be anything hidden and left out.
Yeah, the gotchas later.
Yes, exactly.
So let's get back to our question part of this. Yeah. So one of the things, so we talked about one of the first things you should ask your contractor is the process. Yes. What's the process? Yeah. And if they can't tell you that, and if they're shady about that, like, well, we try to go over as much as we can, but it's really simple. Yeah. It's just really 1 or 2 steps. That's probably not true. It may be. I may be totally off on this. There may be a contractor out there that's got it figured out. Yeah. It's a 2-step process and they're done. Not for a custom home, I don't believe. So the second thing that I think they need to talk about is what's included in my estimate.
Yes.
So in my opinion, there's a preliminary estimate.
Yes.
And then there's the final. So that preliminary estimate can be fairly vague. You know, we kind of developed a system that made it not so vague. We as long as you could tell me the parameters of your build within a reasonable rate, I could spit out a price to you minus dirt work and some other things that we hadn't even talked about yet. There's a big difference in that versus sitting down with a set of plans, getting bids from your contractors, getting bids from your mechanicals, and giving a final bid.
Yes.
And I think that it's important for homeowners. So talk to me a little bit about what things you think, if I'm a homeowner coming in and talking to a contractor, what things need to be in that estimate that I know to avoid the gotchas later?
Yeah. So like we just talked about site work, there is a possibility that we could just plug in a number. Okay. That's what I see happening a lot.
Take a chance. Yeah.
Like we're going to put $10,000 in there because it's a 30 by 50 pad, and we know a roundabout if we have to haul in fill based upon your location.
Let me guess. And I've built out there before. It's probably not that bad.
Yeah, it's probably not that bad. And then your land is flat, but actually in the back of it there's a cliff, and you want to build on the side of the cliff because of the great view.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to be really careful as trustworthy contractors of being upfront with what we do put in the bid.
Yeah.
I would also really look at the mechanical systems. I'm pretty high on the mechanicals that we put in our projects. I'm not saying we have everything figured out, but we are trying to do our best.
It's a priority.
To be diligent. Yeah. It's a big priority. I want some detail. If I was a client looking at building a Barndo, I would want some details about the mechanical system, even on a preliminary project price.
Yeah.
Because there's big swings in what we're deciding in the mechanical
Well, think about if you say, well, your HVAC is going to be $22,000.
Yeah.
What is the HVAC? Is it a 2-stage? Is it variable speed?
That's a red flag. And I'll tell you what, they probably don't know.
Yeah. And I was guilty of that.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, I'm the one who was guilty of it. My first 6 months of doing this, I was like, what do you mean 2-stage variable speed? You know, I understood a little bit about it. I'm not completely dumb to it. Yeah. But when you started talking about differentiating between the type of systems that you wanted in there, you know, what's on your electrical, you know, how many panels are you going to have in this house? You have any 220s? Well, yeah, I got an oven. That's not what we mean. We mean like, do you run a generator? Or are you going to run a compressor or anything like that? Yeah. And so there are salesmen out there who will, and I've seen this, they're going to go to Chat GPT or they're going to go to Claude and go, hey, give me an estimate, full turnkey estimate for a 2,000 square foot house that's 50 by 40, then 12 foot tall. I've got 8 windows and 3 exterior doors and 2 bathrooms.
Oh, man.
And they'll send it out. I have seen it with my own 2 eyes too many times because customers will send those to me. And go, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you need to burn that. Yeah. You know
what I love is when if a potential client brings me an estimate and it's a 1-page estimate.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done a Barndominium on a 1-page estimate. Yeah. They're usually honestly 3 or 4 pages long. But it'll just say windows. Okay, so windows $4,000. Okay, what type of windows are we talking about? Are we talking about a vinyl window? Are we talking about a fabrics window? What brand of windows? Are they single?
Because it's a huge swing.
It's a huge swing. Yeah. We have got to have details. A huge red flag for you if you are out there looking for a Barndominium and you're getting multiple bids, which is another thing that we could talk about.
Yeah.
You need to compare not only the pricing, but what that bid looks like.
Yeah, because, and I want to throw this at you, just came to my mind. Yeah. Like there is a huge difference. And I think homeowners, advice for homeowners, which is what this is focused on, know what you want in your house. Because I think a lot of homeowners are coming into this trusting the contractor a little bit too much because they're
way
like,
too much.
I just want windows. Well, I can put a gelled window in there, or I could put Pella in there, you know, or I can put, you know, Anderson Series 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's all different phases that you can put in there. So I think not that I don't want to completely knock contractors. That's not what I'm trying to do.
That's not the goal here.
No, that's not what we're trying to do. I want to make sure that homeowners, when you're trying to find the right contractor, make sure that you know what you want to put in there, because you can a homeowner can very easily mess this relationship up just as much by coming in and saying, I'm really simple, I just want this and this and this. Well, then I give them that bid. Okay, I'm going to give you a simple bid. White windows, you know, builder grade granite, builder grade this. And then they come in there when we get started, it's like, well, that's not what I wanted. Well,
Yeah.
you said simple.
Yeah.
You know, and when we get to the bid, now we're $35,000 difference on the house because we upgraded everything that they said.
I think as contractors, we need to remember that in that situation, we are the ones being trusted. And so we need to give the information to our clients in order to breed that trust.
Yes.
Because trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. And so what can we do at the beginning of the process to not have these big hiccups during the middle of it?
I think the best thing that I ever created, and I'm not reinventing the wheel here. It's not like oh wow, how did you even think of that?
Yeah.
The best thing that I ever did was create just a simple Google document that was a pre-questionnaire, like a new customer questionnaire.
Yes.
And it had what type of countertops are you expecting? Butcher block, granite, you know, what do you look? Are you wanting laminate? I had some come in their custom homes. They wanted laminate.
Yeah.
I've had it in other ones. I like it, you know. Okay. But filling that out, yes, it may take them an hour. And so what I would tell people is, okay, so here's what we're going to do. Here's a little preliminary estimate. This is kind of basic. So, but take this document that I'm emailing you right now, or I'm going to send you a document. You guys go out on a date. You know, go eat dinner, just the two of you, sit down and do two things. Number one, fill out this new customer questionnaire. But while you're filling that out, make a list of negotiables and non-negotiables.
Yeah, that's great.
I will pay to put this in my house because I want it that bad. I've had it before. I love it. I can't live without it.
Yep.
And then the list of, I want that in my house, but I am not paying $5,000 for that to be in my house.
It's a maybe.
And I think if you get those two items back from a homeowner, man, we are on the same page. Now there are certain things that may pop up that I didn't put on there, but I try not to be too detailed about it. But at least some of the big ticket items that you're going to come up and go, well, I wanted quartz, I wanted engineered hardwood floors, I wanted all these different things. That kind of solves that problem. So to a homeowner, if your contractor's not willing to do something like that for you, where they on the front side go, tell me more about your build.
Exactly.
Don't make the contractor tell you more about your build. You tell the contractor about the build, and then we pray that your contractor is honest enough to go, I can do that, or I don't know if I can do that. I may not be the right fit. And it's happened. Hey, I am not the right fit because we just don't do that very well. I'd have to hire all that out, and it's going to cost you more money. And I've told people that before. Hey, look, I can do that for you, but it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to order that where you're at and have it delivered versus me sending that from where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that conversation too many times.
I've done that here locally. I'm not the best fit. No contractor is the best fit for everybody.
Everybody, yeah. And if you're trying to be that, somebody's getting the short side of that.
Yeah,
either the contractor or the homeowner. Somebody's getting the short end of that. You're either going to lose money as a contractor because you're trying to do too much, which leads me to the next question.
Yeah.
Homeowners, when you go sit with that contractor or you talk to them on the phone, when you have that first real meeting with them, ask them how many projects that they have. And I used to look at this the other way around. I was opposite of you because I've had a couple of conversations. How many, before I answer my end, how many projects would you say that you comfortably want to build in a year as a custom home builder?
As a custom home builder. Okay, so that's a nuanced question. So I want to put it out there that big is not bad. Big organizations that do a lot of houses every year.
Oh, for sure.
It's not bad. So that is not what we are saying. Yeah. That's not what we want to be taken from what we
Agreed,
what
1,000%.
What we are saying. What we want is a better understanding of how you handle that workload.
Yeah.
So if it's just me and a project manager, I have to be really careful about my build radius. I have to be really careful about where those locations are, because if you go by mileage, there's certain routes that take you way longer and it's going to shoot you in the foot.
I learned that the hard way. 90 miles is 90 miles. No, it's not.
No, it is not.
That's 2.5 hours versus an hour and a half.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I think that we have to, when we're asking that question as a client, we're not asking to knock whether you have one Barndo going or you have 17 Barndos going. How do you manage that process?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're a one-man show, that is awesome. But if you're the one-man show and you're telling me you're doing 17 Barndos at one time, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
It may be happening, but it's not happening well.
Yeah, I guarantee you it may be happening, but there's some phone calls going on in between there, like, where are you at?
That's exactly
Why
right.
is this not here?
They have a pile of people that are really happy with them, a pile of people that are kind of okay, and a pile of people that are just super aggravated.
Yeah.
So you have to know your own limits as a contractor, and really all we're getting out of that question is what does your team makeup look like?
Yeah.
If you're a giant organization, you have 7 project managers, you can do a lot.
Yeah.
If you're a smaller organization, you have chosen to go that route, you want to be more hands-on yourself.
Yeah.
Then it's going to really limit the amount of projects that
and I think that's
do.
something to add. A little piece I'll add to that is, there's nothing wrong with either or. The contractor who's got 8 crews and the contractor who has 1.
Exactly.
But I've had homeowners that come in, and I think this is something that homeowners need to look at is, what do you want out of this? Are you wanting somebody who's going to handle all the trades and handle everything themselves and try to be hands-on, or are you wanting to fit into that system? Neither are wrong.
Yeah.
But I've had homeowners that have come in these meetings and ask me specifically, do you guys do everything yourself, or do you just contract everything out?
Yeah.
And there are businesses that'll just look you dead in the eye and go, we contract everything out. I got a project manager, but we just contract it out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's quality homes being built like that all over the world. But there are some homeowners that will come in and go, no, I want to be face-to-face with you every day.
Yes.
I went to a project this morning. Okay. And my erector is out there welding up. And guess who's holding the post up for him? It's the homeowner.
Yeah.
The homeowner's out there because, they're retired. And it was great.
Awesome.
He's great. And shout out to Danny and Linda. But Danny's been out there every day with them. And he just loves that. He's been in that business. It's not new to him. And so he's out there helping them move equipment.
Yeah.
I felt bad because for about 5 minutes while I was out there, I literally sat in a chair with Miss Linda under a shade and was talking to her about something. I look out there, I'm like, Danny is out there raising posts with these
guys. Hard.
Yeah, I was like, man, y'all need to hire Danny for $10 an hour. Yeah. But I think it's important to note that, as the homeowner, what do you want?
Yeah, what are your expectations?
Yeah.
So there are certain clients that I meet, they expect me to be on that person on that job.
That's right.
If I sent somebody else, they would not have the same level of trust.
Yeah.
Even if I put my name on that person, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't want to have 10 people that they contact throughout the build.
Right.
You don't know who's going to show up at the build site.
Yeah.
We don't know who's working out there. And I think that's a big comfort factor and a trust factor that starts very early. And I'll say this: I think it goes a long way when, I'll say this, and I hope it's not disrespectful in any way. You're a small operation.
Yes, I am.
You're not trying to build 20 houses a year.
No,
So I don't mean that in derogatory in any way. But I think it's awesome that you have companies who are, I'm going to work with Micah from the start to the finish.
Yes.
Because I've been in situations, and even currently, I've had a couple that I've had to just kind of hand them off. And sometimes I feel bad. Like, well, you've talked to me and we've done all this. Miss Danny, Miss Linda and Mr. Danny, I've been working with them for 2 years on their design. We've been through a lot to get this thing ready to build, and they're so excited.
And you're the source of trust.
Yeah. And it didn't matter. I could have told them that this guy will be out here at gunpoint, but don't worry about it. Don't worry, he's good. Okay, if you say so. And I take pride in that. But I think as a homeowner, you need to know what you want out of this deal.
Exactly.
Are you wanting the huge company that does 20 to 30 a year, which there's nothing wrong with them, nothing at all wrong with them? Or do you want that more intimate build where I can ask these questions, I'm going to get these answers, I know who's going to be here every other day, and get that build done? I think that's just huge.
And both organizations can produce exceptional quality.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Very good point. Again, I know that's going to come across as like, well, we hate big companies, and that's not it at all.
No.
So I'm going to ask one more question. We're going to have to wrap this episode up. I think this episode's going to carry over because we're going to have to come back and talk about a few things during construction as well. So the last thing I'm going to ask you, or I would think, is what type of build am I getting and why? And before you answer this or talk about this, I think the homeowner needs to know what they want, have an idea of what they want. Yes. And then I think what that homeowner want has to match what that contractor can provide.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about what you provide and why it's important that contractors are able to, I think it's sometimes, again, draw a line and go, I don't do that.
Yes.
Instead of, oh yeah, I can do that because I need the job.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit. What type of builds do you do and why do you do them?
Yeah. So personally, there's some trust in God in that, in making that hard line.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's a scarcity mentality in contracting, depending on what's on the news. You're thinking, well, if I turn this job down, will I have a next job?
You've got a lot of kids.
Yes, I have a lot of kids. So big family to feed, which is a blessing.
Honor build. He needs
which is a blessing. So, but yeah, I have come to that conclusion, and that's the way our business is. So as far as
faith,
a turnkey project, A turnkey barndominium, we're only going to do a hybrid build. And by hybrid build, what I mean is that there is a steel superstructure. So when my steel crew leaves and we self-perform the steel portion of that, when my steel crew leaves, there will be essentially, depending upon the design, a pavilion. What looks like a pavilion. So there's going to be most likely square tube columns, big square tube columns. There's going to be I-beam rafters. There's going to be metal purlin. And there's going to be whatever roof system that we have chosen to put on that project. And then our framers come in and we 2x6 stud frame in between those columns with our framing. And we wrap all the walls in zip system sheathing.
So why? Okay, so let's go to contractors who do it that way.
Yes.
And so essentially, if we go down the list, you've got, let's start with the types of builds. So you got post frame or pole barn.
Correct.
Okay. You can do all steel, which is red iron steel, or you can do cold form steel. You've got a hybrid, which is is a mix, which I build those as well. The one we're working on right now is a hybrid, which is a mix of the superstructure being that red iron steel, whether it's tubing or whatever. And then you've got VersaTube, which is aluminum tubing that I've actually talked to some people there. And then you've got, what am I trying to say? There's one more that I'm looking for, cold form, VersaTube. And then I've seen them with just aluminum. Just aluminum frame shells, like carports and things like that. And now we're not going to knock any type of build, but I think it's important that as the homeowner, you don't just come in there and go, I want a Barndo. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a little bit of a difference between the price of an all steel frame and a pole barn. Just a plain Jane pole barn that's built like a barn.
There's a massive price difference between a VersaTube and a red iron.
And so when somebody comes in and you get a quote, I always like to say, are we apples to apples here? Because I would get a quote and they come in and say, well, this is the quote I got from somebody else. I'm like, man, we are $50,000 more. Why? And then when they would send me the quote, I'm like, well, duh. You get 3 windows, you get a horizontal 29 gauge panel, and you're getting like an aluminum frame, and it's not engineered, and it's just got a couple of bolts holding it down, or it's it's on pier and beam. And so I think it's important for the homeowner to understand what type they've got. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for my website, the barndonetwork.net. We've got some resources on there that will help you understand the types and what's best for you. And I think the contractor, good or bad, you answer this and I'll let you elaborate. Good or bad, contractor says, I can do anything you want.
I'm not going to say yes or no on that.
Okay.
Because it depends on what that question is. So if somebody comes to me and wants a turnkey Barndo, I'm going to tell them we only do hybrid. And what I want them to ask is why. I want that question. Most of the time, I do not get that question, so I ask that question and answer that for them. This is why.
Can you reverse psychology them there and go, why do you want a pole barn? Like why? They go, well, I want all steel. Okay, well, tell me why do you want that? What's the main reason for that?
Tell me why, because I watched YouTube and somebody said that all steel is stronger than a hybrid. Okay, well, we need...
The thermals are really good in a metal building.
I think words really matter. Especially when we put out words to the public. So we need to have some evidence behind those words.
I agree.
That's why I love doing job site tours. So if somebody comes and asks me, why do you only build a hybrid? Well, let's go look. Let's go see. I will show you why I only do that.
And I would have so many people that, I started YouTube a while back and started touring homes and stuff like that. And people would call from all over the country, man. And they would literally drive from all over the country just to see the Barndos that they were building. And I'm like you, that was my favorite thing to do, was get in the car, take them to a build and go, here's why. Here's what it does. Here's what it looks like. And here's why we do what we do.
Exactly.
And there were times, I will be honest, there were times that I look at them and go, well, it may not be. I mean, there are probably better ways to handle that. Or better ways to do that, but this is just the way that we do it. Do y'all do these? No, we do not. We specialize in these. And if it's not what you want, that's fine. We understand it. I'll put you in contact with somebody who can do that.
And that's not saying those are bad or wrong. It's just saying this is my lane and I'm going to stick with it.
That's right. And I think that is very important, because it's kind of scary to me when I get, because I'm trying to grow this network right now, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls from people that are like, I can build any of them. I can build any you want. Like, wait a minute. Are you sure you want to put that out there, that you can do steel frame, you can do hybrid, you can do post frame? Oh yeah, I can do everything. Well, what are you, jack of all trades, but what are you really good at? You're a master of none. And I think it's important, because there's enough business out there for everybody. Find your niche, find your lane, and get really good at your lane and be the best in your lane.
Yeah, exactly.
But you make such a good point of understand why you're in that lane.
Yes.
Not because I think there's more business in this.
Exactly.
You know, and I know you well enough to know that that is not. The first time I ever came out to tour a house with you, you were gracious enough to let me come out and tour a house for my channel. And the first thing you wanted to talk about was, I'm going to go up here and show you the AC. Let me show you the dehumidifier. Look, man, look at the insulation. And I'm in here going, man, this is going to do good on video. You know, this is going to be a good looking video. But I'm with you. I totally understand the efficiency, and I love talking about that.
Yes.
But at that point, I was like, I don't get right now, man. I don't care about that. But I could just see in your eyes, you're like, man, this is such an efficient build. I want you to see what all we've done in here. And I think homeowners need to be able to have that conversation. And red flag, if your contractor can't answer some of those questions as to why, you know, run away. It is okay to spend another couple of weeks looking for a better contractor. It is okay.
Ask the hard questions.
Yes. And if they don't want to answer them, then politely just go find somebody else.
That's okay.
Yeah, that is perfectly fine. And I think one of the things that I would almost be proud of and hang my hat on when I was doing sales was I would tell you, I don't know. I had no problem telling you, no, I can't do that, or I don't know the answer to that, but I'll go get it for you. I think there's too many people out there that are like, well, this is the way we do it. Why? Well, because this way we've always done it. You know,
that's the way my daddy did it.
Yeah, well, that's right. And it's worked all this time. We've never had a building collapse.
Yep.
Yeah, but their electric bill's $500 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because you didn't seal it up very well, you know, or you didn't do a blower test or anything in it, you know.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But we've got to wrap this one up. But I think there's just so many things that, you know, we started this as, what do you ask your contractor?
I know.
and I think, but I think there's a lot of things. There's two sides to that coin. I think it's got to be, what are you asking your contractor? But you better come into this knowing a little bit yourself.
Yeah, it's a both and.
Yeah, don't just look at, man, I mean, I hope you come to our channel and look at our tours. I do. But don't just watch that tour and go, oh, man, that's so pretty. I just want that. I just want it to look exactly like that. Because I've had people do that to me. But when we start talking about the efficiency of it, you know, what do you want to do here? What do you want to do there? I don't know. I don't care. Well, you better.
When somebody tells me I've been doing a lot of research on YouTube, I love it.
Oh, yeah. And Pinterest. And Pinterest is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost anything on Pinterest. Yeah. I saw this fireplace and the staircase on Pinterest. I'm like, oh, gosh, this is going to be bad. That's probably the you know, my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. And if you people fall for this, I'm just going to say it. You're dumb. Okay. Barndos under 100K.
Oh, man, the spam groups.
Oh, the image alone of the house. I had one from Florida, and she messaged me through Instagram, and she goes, can I really get this Barndo? And she sent me the picture for 100K. And I told her flat out, I said, with all due respect, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I said, the framing on that and the design of that alone is $100,000. I said, you'll never move into that house for $100,000.
Just total clickbait.
Yeah, and I get it. It's the world that we live in. You know, it is. But you need to do some viable research, make those phone calls, get a list of 5 contractors and start making those phone calls and just jot down those answers, get quotes, compare your quotes, and get apples to apples. Don't call one contractor and say, I want a pole barn. Call the other one and say, I want a high efficiency hybrid or something like that. And then tell the other one, kick rocks because you were way cheaper or you're way more expensive. You know, I just don't think that's a good way to go about it. But I do believe there are a ton of questions that you need to ask your contractor. So we've covered the pre-construction today. So our next episode that we're probably just going to stay right here and record right after this is we'll talk about as we get closer to the actual construction. I've chosen my contractor.
Yes.
Now, what needs to happen? Now, what needs to happen before I get to the contract signing? What type of things do I need to make sure are covered before we get to that contract signing?
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, Micah, thank you for joining me on this episode. Just stay right here. We're going to record another one. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and do that now. It is the Barndo Network. And check out our new website, thebarndonetwork.net. If you are a contractor who is looking for customers, or more importantly, if you're a customer who is looking for that right builder, Honor Build is part of our network now. We can help you find that contractor or that tradesman in your area. So you can go to our website, you can search by trade, search by location, and find that contractor that you need. If you're a contractor, let me know. We want to get you listed. If you're a homeowner, jump on there, find your people, build your dream home. So we'll see you again next time on the Build Better Barndos podcast.